Hello everyone, this is Veena, Assistant Professor in the Department of English, Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. Today, I am here to share my understanding and the main points which are covered under outcome-based education, its introduction and significance. Outcome-based education. The word outcome itself signifies that the education is provided focusing on the outcomes that will be acquired or understood or can be retrieved from the outcome of that program which we have assigned to our students. That is, we are focusing on the outcomes of the programs which we have designed for our students. The education which have valuable feedback, valuable impact over our students. That is what is our outcome-based education. Now, let us try to understand its definition and its relevance. Outcome-based education is a student-centric teaching and learning methodology. We tend to use teacher-centric teaching in the past, in the traditional methods. But now, we are going to teach in student-centric form of learning. That is, our education programs will be catering the needs of the students, around the student. That is, we are focusing mainly on the students and their needs to make them understand and also make them acknowledge of whatever programs they are able to enroll themselves with. It is to provide proper guidance, understanding needs of the students. That is student-centric teaching and learning methodology. That is, we will provide more scope, more focus on the students. Next, it focuses on measuring student performance. We will measure. We will not going to judge the students' performance. We are going to measure. Now, in what way, in which way? It is learning methodology in the course delivery, as we have understood. When we are teaching the student, when we are following student-centric methodology, student-centric teaching methodology, in which our course delivery assessments are planned and achieved to state the objectives and the outcomes. So, we are trying to make the course delivery and the elements whichever we are going to design for our students in the form of student-centric methodology, where we will measure the student performance based on the outcomes. Now, what is OBE? What is outcome-based education? It is utilize OBE is curriculum. Point step 1 is curriculum. Curriculum that outlines specific measurable outcomes. That is, we are going to focus on the curriculum which measures the outcomes, where the outcomes are measurable. That is the first step. Next, method of curriculum. Design and teaching that focuses on what students can actually do after they are taught. Now here the focus is on the methods of implementation of the curriculum. In what way is that you are going to utilize or strategic views which you are going to implement such that the student gains that to bring the outcome from that student, and in what way it is useful to him after you complete that particular course. So, you will be focusing on the outcomes of the students which you gain through the methods or the strategies. Next, point 3. It is stated clearly not what the lecturer is going to teach. Here, our complete focus is on the students. It is not what lecturer is going to teach. It is what the student is going to understand and acquire from that lecture. Okay, the focus is on the student rather than the teacher's lectures. What that student is going to acquire from the lecture, which he has got from the teacher, and what is the outcome by the end of that lecture. It is the main focus. So step 1, how to utilize OBE, what is the type of curriculum which we are going to follow. Step 2, the methods, how is the curriculum designed so that we get that proper outcomes. We will acquire the outcomes which are designed in that particular course. Next, it is clearly stating that the focus will be completely on the students, not on the teachers. The focus is on the outcomes which can be understood after the completion of the course. Next, what are the key features for implementation of outcome-based education? What are those key features which one has to understand to implement the outcome-based education? Point 1. Development of the curriculum framework. What is the curriculum framework? That outlines specific and measurable outcomes. So, we will be focusing on the development of the curriculum framework, which is integrated with specific outcomes and also the measurable outcomes. Next, instructional methodology. What is instructional methodology? The strategies, the tools, the elements of the instructive tools which are included in this particular entity. That is instructional methodology to ensure delivery for specified outcomes. For specified outcomes, you will have to follow specific instructional methodology. That is the second key element. Next, standards-based assessments. Your assessments must be designed in such a way they are standardized. That determines whether students have achieved the stated standard. So, only your assessments will measure the outcome of the students. Did the way the instructional methodology, instructional things in your curriculum framework attained the need of the students will be assessed such that you will get the result of the outcome of that particular student. So, these are the main key characteristics which will be used in the implementation of the outcome-based education. Now, the objective of these guidelines is to, what are the objectives of these guidelines of the OBE education? Next, fair and reliable measure of students' performance. This is the first objective. Fair and reliable. Fair is that which is not accompanied with any kind of partiality. Okay? Fair enough to measure or give equal importance to all the students. Next, reliable measure. Reliable, that which can be trusted. So, the key objective of OBE, outcome-based education, is to have fair and reliable measure of students' performance. We are not going to take any kind of partiality, show any kind of partiality, be true, be authentic, and also see that your assessments are reliable so that the outcome which has come from a student is understood and also analyzed for making it more better. Next, knowledge and skills against the learning outcomes. Now, apart from the learning, we are going to see that on what basis the student is going to acquire his outcome. Knowledge and skills are given more priority. than the learning outcomes. So, knowledge and skills are the most integral parts which you are going to intrude into your course outcomes such that they acquire their learning outcomes with possible knowledge and skill. So, you will be assigning possible skill and the knowledge for the course whichever you are going to allot to the students. Next, discipline pedagogy by evaluating the effectiveness of the teaching process. Discipline pedagogy, that is the way they have to stand, the way they have to carry out, how the framework has to run in proper steps in a logical order. All these are the key objectives that you are going to use in the outcome-based education. Next, facilitating continuing improvement. You will not discourage any student at any point of time. You are going to facilitate them with continuing improvement. That is, you are focusing on the continuous improvement of the student through the assessments, the way of the methods which you use to conduct that course. Next, and promoting subsequent learning. You are going to promote learning, imbibing all the knowledge and the skills which will focus on the continuous improvement of the student and also will be clear, informative, timely and relevant. That is, you are going to give the feedback very, very clearly, informatively, timely, such that the continuous improvement is possible. If you do not give the feedback to the students at the timing, whichever it is important, they may not understand their position and they may not show that interest in learning that particular course. So, the timely way of giving the feedback to the students will help them improve and try to make more better ways in learning their course in an effective manner and understand those knowledge and the skill elements which are prescribed for that particular element. Next, some important aspects of the outcome-based education. So, there are certain very, very important aspects which everyone has to know while trying to understand outcome-based education. First one, course. What is a course? We tend to use this word very frequently. But we should know the proper meaning or the definition of this word course. Now, what is course? It is defined as a theory, practical or theory cum practical subject studied in a semester. What is a course? It is a theory or the practical or both together which is to be studied by the student for one particular semester. For example, engineering mathematics. This is one course which they are going to study in that particular semester. That is what called as a course. Okay. Next, course outcome. Course outcome. Now we have understood the word course. Course is the subject. Course is the subject which they are going to learn for one time semester, which is integrated with both theory and the practicum. Now, what is course outcome? That which is learned. Okay. Now, course outcomes are statements that describe significant and essential learning that learners have achieved. That is, in that particular course, what is the element, what is the knowledge, what is the skill the learner has studied and learnt from that particular, that is an outcome from the learning of that course. That is what is called your course outcome. Next, generally 3 or more course outcomes may be specified for each course. For each course, we tend to generate 3 to 4 specific outcomes, course outcomes, such that when you try to make that course effective and make the students learn the true elements, true knowledge skills which they ought to, so these course outcomes will help you in showing the direction towards achieving the goal of that course. Next, program. Program is defined as a specialization or discipline of a degree. It is a program of a degree. It is interconnected arrangement of courses, co-curricular and extracurricular activities. So, under these programs, you will have courses, co-curricular and extracurricular activities to accomplish predetermined objectives. So, we have framed course outcomes. Okay. So, these programs will try to enable and accomplish this purpose of the course, leading to awarding a degree. For example, BE Marine Engineering. This is the program, okay, under which you will have course outcomes which have to be attained. Now, program outcomes. What are the program outcomes? Program outcomes are narrower statements that describe what students are expected to be able to do. What students are expected to do by the time of the graduation. What are the program outcomes? What the students are expected to do by the end of their graduation is the program outcome. POs are expected to be aligned closely with graduate attributes. That is, we are going to map the COs and POs such that we will gain a confidence over the true attributes which the students are going to learn and possess by the end of their graduation. Now, program educational objectives, that is PEOs. The program educational objectives of a program are the statements that describe expected achievements of graduates in their career. If they are planning a career, what are the expected achievements which they are going to attain through the courses which they have opted? So, PEOs describe the expected achievements of graduates in their career, and also in particular what the graduates are expected to perform. What they are expected to perform in one particular course is your program's educational objectives and achieved during the first few years after graduation. After the completion of their graduation, first few years, what are the program educational objectives? What are the things which they have acquired after they finish that particular course? Next, program specific outcomes. What are the specific outcomes which the students are going to acquire after the finishing their course? Program specific outcomes are the student should be able to do at the time of graduation with special reference to a specific discipline. What they are going to able to do at the time of graduation while pursuing their graduation with reference to a specific discipline. Usually there are 2 or 4 PSOs in one program. Next, graduate attributes, GAs. These graduate attributes are 12 in number and are exemplars of the attributes expected of a graduate from an accredited program. For a program, there will be minimum 12 graduate attributes, and these are the POs or the graduate attributes which will be designed to attain the needs of that particular program. Now, let us know what are those 12 graduate attributes in outcome-based education. What are the POs? PO1, engineering knowledge. When it comes to engineering students, especially OBE refers to these 12 graduate attributes. PO1 is engineering knowledge. Here, apply the knowledge of mathematics, science, engineering fundamentals and an engineering specialization to the solution of complex engineering problems. This is PO1. Next, PO2, problem analysis. Identify, formulate, research literature and analyze complex engineering problems, reaching sustained conclusions using first principles of mathematics, natural sciences, and engineering sciences. So, PO1 is engineering knowledge, PO2 is problem analysis. Next comes PO3, design or development of solutions. Design solutions for complex engineering problems and design system components or processes that meet the specified needs with appropriate consideration for the public health and safety and the cultural, societal and environmental conditions. This is PO3. Next, PO4. Conduct investigations of complex problems. Use research-based knowledge and research methods including design of experiments, analysis and interpretation of data and synthesis of the information to provide valid conclusions. This is your PO4. Next, PO5. Modern tool usage. Create, select and apply appropriate techniques, resources and modern engineering and IT tools including prediction and modeling of complex engineering activities with an understanding of the limitations. Next, PO6. The engineer and society. Apply reasoning informed by the contextual knowledge to assess societal, health, safety, legal and cultural issues and the consequent responsibilities relevant to the professional engineering practice. PO8. Ethics. Apply ethical principles and commit to professional ethics and responsibilities and norms of engineering practice. PO9. Individual and teamwork. Function effectively as an individual and as a member or leader in diverse teams and in multidisciplinary settings. Next, PO10. Communication, which is also very element for all the engineering students. Communicate effectively on complex engineering activities with the engineering community and with the society at large, such as being able to comprehend and write effective reports and design documentation, make effective presentations and give and receive clear instructions. This is PO10. Next, PO11. Project management and finance. Demonstrate knowledge and understanding of the engineering and management principles and apply these to one's own work as a member and leader in a team to manage projects and in multidisciplinary environments. PO12. Lifelong learning. What all the above POs mentioned will be rendered with PO12, that is lifelong learning. Your learning must be lifelong. That is, recognize the need for and have the preparation and ability to engage in independent and lifelong learning in the broadcast context for technological change. So, those are the 12 attributes which refer to the engineering students and are focused to be attained through the formulation of course objectives, and they all will be assessed through your outcomes. Now, how is that you are going to formulate your COs? On the basis of knowledge levels as per Bloom's taxonomy. Level 1, knowledge. That is, it is the ability to remember the previously learned material or information. Then L2, comprehension. It is the ability to grasp the meaning of the material. Level 3, application. Knowledge, comprehension, application. This is level 3. It is the ability to use learned material in new and concrete situations. Then level 4, L4, analysis. It is the ability to break down material concept into its component parts, subsections, so that its organizational structure may be understood. Then L5, synthesis. It is the ability to put parts or subsections together to form a new whole material, idea, concept or information. Then L6, evaluation. It is the ability to judge the value of material, concept, statement, creative material or research report for a given purpose. Okay, so you will be having 12 POs. You have to formulate your COs according to the knowledge levels of Bloom's taxonomy, which is the major requirement. Then, what are the assessment methods which you are going to use in the OBE? One is, we have two kinds of assessment methods which we use, that is direct methods and indirect methods. Then, direct methods, collecting evidence on student learning directly from using work submitted by students or by observing them as they demonstrate learned behaviors, attitudes, skills or practice. That is, you are going to acquire the evidence directly from the students, which they know it, which they have performed directly in front of you. Then, indirect methods, gathering information through means other than looking at actual samples of student work. Rather than the actual samples of student work, you are assess him indirectly, gathering all the elements which has happened indirectly, which are not happened actually. Okay, so direct and indirect are the two assessment methods which we use. Next, how is that we are going to evaluate, formulate our COs according to Bloom's taxonomy on these levels. Now, remember is recall facts and basic concepts. That is, you define, you duplicate, you list, you memorize, you repeat and state the past things. Then understand. Explain ideas or concepts. How you will be going to describe, discuss, explain, identity, locate, recognize, report, select and translate. In what way you are going to apply? You are going to execute, implement, solve, use, demonstrate, interpret, operate, schedule or sketch. Then comes analyze. Draw connections among ideas through analysis. Differentiate, organize, relate, compare, contrast, distinguish, examine, experiment, question, test. Then evaluate. Evaluate to justify a stand or decision. Apprise them, argue, defend, judge, select, support, value, critique, weigh. Next, create. Create. Produce a new or original work. Design, assemble, construct. So, through these knowledge levels, through all these knowledge levels, from remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate and create. These are the 6 knowledge levels which we try to integrate to formulate our COs. Now, what are the guidelines for writing course outcome statements? That is, to formulate your COs, what is that you are going to follow? Well-written course outcomes involve the following parts. These are the parts which are involved in the well-written COs. In the formulation of COs, you are going to integrate all these 4 points such that your COs cater to the needs of students and match with the POs which are to be achieved by the end of that particular course. Now, what is that? First, action verbs. Try to formulate and use the action verbs properly such that it will completely make your need of making the students integrate the knowledge and skills. Action words. How you are going to use the proper use of those action words while formulating your COs. Next, subject content. The selection of the subject content plays vital role in formulating your COs. What is that? You want your student to learn, understand, develop, create, analyze and interpret. You have to focus on the subject content while you are formulating your CO. Next, level of achievement as per Bloom's taxonomy. What is the level of achievement? Is it suiting in formulating your CO? Is it referring all the needs of the student? Next, modes of performing task. How is that you are going to perform the task? What are the elements? What are the aspects? What is the practical knowledge? What is the experiment which you are going to make your student perform to attain proper, relevant, accurate outcome from his education? Next, illustration. Students are able to design columns, splices and bases. This is one of the example of the thing which I have explained. Here we are going to use these 4 elements in formulating your COs. Now I am going to illustrate you this. How is that you are going to formulate? Now this is one of the example. Students are able to design columns, splices and bases. See the action word. This is the action word we are using in this proper, in this sentence to show the design column of splices and bases. Next, determine the losses in a flow system. Subject content. Here we are indicating the subject content. Next, use structural analysis software to a competent level. Competent level. Here we are indicating the level of achievement. We are referring to the level of achievement. Next, present seminar on real life problems. This is mode of performing task. This is the way you are making your student to perform task. What is that? Present seminar. Okay, you are making the student to present a seminar to exercise the performance of the task of the action verb. Next, while writing COs, the following questions or points must be addressed properly. These are the important things which you have to address very, very importantly. What is that? Be specific. Be specific while formulating your COs. Is there a description of precise behavior? Try to replace that situation specifically. Next, measurable. See that your outcomes are measurable. Your performance is measurable. Next, achievable. What are the elements which can be achieved through that particular CO? Must be understood. Next, relevant. Is that relevant to the course? Is that relevant to the knowledge and the skill which student is going to learn in that particular course? Next, time bound. In that time limit, is that possible to make the student understand the knowledge and the skill of that particular course in the time which is bounded to that particular course? See that your COs will always cater all these needs. That is, it must be specific, it must be measurable, it must be achievable, it must be relevant and it must be time bound. Next, guidelines or checklists for COs. What are the checklists which you have to remember? Number of COs, 2 to 4 for each course. Then CO essentials, action verb, subject content, level of achievements, modes of performing tasks. Based on Bloom's taxonomy level. Understand, remember, apply, analyze, evaluate and create. Next, number of Bloom's taxonomy levels considered in one course. That is, minimum 3 levels we have to consider for one course. Next, technical content or point of curriculum. What is the technical content which is very, very important is one of the checklists. All curriculum contents are covered. Next, curriculum gap. Additional COs for gap identified or filling adds more weightage. So this is the checklist or the guidelines which you have to remember while formulating your COs. Now, here we understood what are the POs, what are the COs, what is the, how many levels of Bloom's taxonomy level which you use to formulate your COs. On the whole, Now, we will try to understand what are the benefits of outcome-based education. Through outcome-based education, engineering students will learn to get expertise over the clarity. That is, the focus will be given on the clarity of attaining the outcomes. That is, the focus on outcome creates a clear expectation of what needs to be accomplished by the end of the course. Clarity. Then, flexibility. With a clear sense of what needs to be accomplished, instructors will be able to structure their lessons around the students. Then comparison. OBE can be compared across the individual, class, batch, program and institute levels. Then involvement. Students are expected to do their own learning. Here only the teacher will play the role of instructor or a guide. Here the entire thing is focused on the student's level of performance. Increased student involvement allows them to feel responsible for their own learning. One should have responsibility over their own things. So that will be learned and attained through outcome-based education. And they should learn more through this individual learning. So, outcome-based education enable a student in self-learning, understanding all the levels of knowledge, making him ready for the professional platform. Thus, OBE education caters the needs of all the engineering students and make them excel in all the entities what they have selected for the growth of their profession. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.